Good evening, everybody. I'll give people a little bit of time to log on real quick. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Erin Keener, and I am on the admissions team at School Year Abroad, or SYA, and we'll be bringing you through a general look over our programs, who we are, what we do. Before I get into that, I would like to introduce, we have three wonderful alumni who are with me today. So I'm going to ask them to join me real quick and briefly introduce themselves, who they are, where they went, because she's first on my screen. I'll ask Avalon to start.
Ciao, buonasera a tutti, mi chiamo Avalon, ho 17 anni e sono di California e ho fatto SYA l'anno scorso a Viterbo. So hi everybody, my name's Avalon, I'm 17 and I'm from Santa Barbara, California, and I did SYA as a full-year student last year in Italy.
Perfect. Andres, can you go next, please?
Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle André, j'ai 17 ans et j'ai étudié en France pendant l'année scolaire en 2024 et j'habite à Atlanta. So hi, I'm Andre, I'm 17. I studied for the full year in France in 2024. And I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Perfect. And last but very much not least, Angela.
Hola a todos, me llamo Ángela, tengo 17 años, me gradué de la promoción 2024 y estudié en Zaragoza, España, y yo soy de Los Ángeles, California. Hi everybody, my name is Angela. I studied in Zaragoza, Spain, class of 2024. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Los Angeles, California.
Perfect. Thank you so much. They're going to go off to the side for a bit while I bring you through a little brief presentation, but don't worry, they will come back very shortly to answer some questions and share about their experiences. All right. So I want you to picture this. You are traveling in Europe with your friends. You are learning a new language by speaking with locals, and you are living with a host family. Now, if you can picture this and you're even the tiniest bit excited, then it's time to consider applying to spend either a year or a semester with SYA. Now, we have campuses in France, Spain, and Italy, and SYA will give you the opportunity to discover a new city through the eyes of a local, to gain independence, and really watch language come to life around you. We are here to turn your learning journey into one that is less focused on textbooks and photos and more on real-life experiences and adventures at one of our 3 European campuses. Now, all of our students live with personally matched host families, and this is really key for helping our students fully immerse themselves in the local language and culture, and also helps them really feel at home while they're living abroad. At SYA, you'll be part of a small student body composed of sophomores, juniors, and seniors from high schools across the US, very similar to yours that you know and love. And you will go to school at a small campus that is just for SYA students. You can see each of our campuses pictured down below. Now, for those of you who are interested in France or Spain, we do require 2 years of those respective languages in order to head off to SYA France or Spain, whereas those of you interested in Italy do not need to know Italian before departing to our campus in Viterbo. Now, I realize that regardless of what country you're interested in applying to, and regardless of how many years you have been taking that language, this can seem really intimidating. I totally get it, the thought of living in that language for a year or semester. However, I really want to assure you that a wide variety of language learners excel at SYA. The whole idea is that you learn through immersion. We have a very immersive programming that helps you learn while you're there. The idea is not that you land day one feeling super confident. We have a very experiential curriculum that involves regular fieldwork days that will get you out of the classroom and engaging with local people and the community around you. So that might look like interviewing locals for political science. You might be studying a particular artist in art history and then go to a world-renowned museum to see their work up close and personal for yourself. Or you might be harvesting grapes for environmental science. Whatever it is, we're trying to get you out of the classroom, really engaging with your course material and contextualizing what you are learning with your teachers. Now, not only will you have a new city to call home, whether that be Rennes, Viterbo, or Zaragoza, but you'll also have a new country to call home, the greater country as well. All of our students take part in academic travel trips, which is a great opportunity to explore different corners of your country, from places like Bordeaux, France, to Andalusia, Spain, to Naples, Italy. At the end of your time with us, you will also take part in a capstone project. Now, this is a really exciting opportunity for you to dig your teeth into something that excites you and really study something you're passionate about. The opportunities for capstone projects are truly endless, but to get those gears turning as to what is possible. Some recent capstone projects include a student in Viterbo who studied fashion design, and she worked with a local seamstress to help bring her designs to life. Another in Zaragoza studied environmental sustainability, and that picture in the middle there is of her at a conference where she spoke with local experts in Spanish on these topics that she'd been studying. And yet another in Rennes, France, studied local farming practices and did many shadow days and really got her hands dirty, both learning from the textbook what people were doing and trying it for herself. On each of our campuses, we also have an extracurricular coordinator, and they will help you engage with the local community through artistic, athletic, musical, and service-oriented opportunities. So oftentimes, whatever you are passionate about here in the States, you can transfer overseas, or you could take it as an opportunity to try something completely new. Each of our campuses also coordinates an exchange with a local high school, which will help you build friendships and connections in the community. At each step of your journey abroad, you will not only have the support of your amazing SYA cohort, your American peers, who will be with you every step of the way, but you'll also have American faculty members who will teach you math and English in English, so no stress. There's no pre-calculus in Spanish or anything like that. However, you will also have local faculty members who will push you outside of your comfort zone as they teach you in the target language. They're also great resources as you're learning how to make the most of your time in your city and plan local travel. Now, I realize that for many, if not all of you, college is on the mind or will be soon, but I really want to assure you that colleges love SYA. So first of all, we are an SAT and AP testing center, so you can stay right on track. We also have a college liaison on each campus who will help juniors start the college process and seniors finish it up. But more importantly, our students find their voices overseas, and it's this voice, this self-awareness, independence that really helps our students stand out to the schools that best meet their interests. They'll have a distinct story to tell and really demonstrate grit and determination that it takes to live in a new country and learn a new language. These are the schools most frequently attended by SYA alumni in the past 5 years. We also really want to make sure that SYA can be a reality for just about every student. We are very proud that we operate a financial aid budget of over $2 million and offer both need-based financial aid and merit-based scholarships. So again, this really goes a long way in a small program like ours to help make sure that this can be a reality for just about every student. Now, I realize this is a lot to absorb. Many of you probably are coming here with varying levels of familiarity. Maybe you are an SYA expert already, or maybe your child came home from school and sprung this on you. But I really hope that you consider SYA as a risk worth taking. This is a wonderful opportunity to really try something different, change up the high school routine, gain independence, and like I said, really watch language come to life around you, whether that be in Rennes, France, Viterbo, Italy, or Zaragoza, Spain. Now, there is still plenty of time to mull this over. I realize it's a lot to think about. Our application deadline is February 7th. So like I said, plenty of time, but please don't start it on February 6th if you are intending to apply. Now, you will be about to hear from our alumni again, but I also encourage you to check out our social media, as our current students, our campus reporters, are posting very regularly, so you can hear straight from them what they're up to, what this week has in store, and see where they're off to. And you don't have to worry about hearing from boring people in the home office like myself. And with that, I would like to welcome back our wonderful alumni. Perfect. So for those of you watching, I just want to give a quick kind of order of events. I have a few pre-prepared questions that I know some of you sent them in as well, but don't hesitate to use the chat as well. And we will do our best to get to everybody, whether it be through a quick reply or if we address it to the greater group. So to my alumni, Angela, can you share a little bit about a favorite class?
Yeah, so my favorite class that I took at SYA was with Soledad Gutierrez, and she teaches art and art history and its contemporary roots. And that was a class that I really wanted to take because I hadn't gotten the chance to take art at my home school. And Sole has been at SYA for over 25 years. So she really knows Zaragoza like the back of her hand, and she understands like the struggle of moving to a new country. And she really puts like her passion and love for art into her students. And she really encouraged us to like learn Zaragoza through its museums and its art. And I took that appreciation back home with me to LA. And I really am grateful for that.
That's so wonderful. I definitely hear that come up time and time again as a favorite class. And I think you brought up a really good point. A lot of times when I'm talking to students, I kind of describe SYA as the Goldilocks way to study abroad, because you have this great immersion, but you have a great support network and teachers who know what it's like to live in a new country and are there for you every step of the way. Now, Andre, could you talk about an extracurricular?
Yeah, so I actually did 2 extracurriculars. I continued playing the violin at the local orchestra, the local youth orchestra, and I also continued swimming at the local pool. And it was really a great way to get to know like local kids and also like learn about your sport in like a new language. Like for swimming, I had to learn like all new different terms. Like I had to like register myself in the swim team. I had to have like a card and stuff. So it was all just like new opportunities for me.
That's really neat. Yes, definitely swimming and orchestral vocabulary probably isn't on your standard French vocab quiz. So that's a pretty cool experience. And you get to interact with locals too, because most of our SYA extracurriculars are through the community. So you don't have to worry about an entire orchestra's worth of SYA students in your cohort. You get matched up with something local. Now, Avalon, could you talk about some food? I mean, Italy's a pretty great place for food.
Yeah, it definitely is. Oh gosh, my favorite food, it's really hard because there's so many, but probably some of my host family's cooking. My host mom would make this traditional Italian pound cake called ciambolone, and she would have it on the dinner table most nights after dinner. And it was just kind of, I got to make it with her a few times, and it was just like a special thing that I still miss and wish I could have now. Other than that, probably gelato, classic, or carbonara. We were right in Rome, which is kind of like the home of carbonara, so it was so good there, and I haven't had that good of carbonara since being back.
It's just not the same. Thank you so much. Andre, could you talk about a favorite trip?
Yeah, so we did, would it be like independent travel or like a school trip?
You could do either or share one of each.
Okay, we went to 3 different cities throughout the year. We went to Bordeaux in November, Paris in February, and then Lyon in April, May. I really love Paris. It's just such a huge city with like so much to do. We got to like go up to the Arc de Triomphe and climb it, and we got to explore the city and visit the different museums. And it was just like a really great way to visit Paris through the eyes of like a local.
Yeah, it's definitely a different way to see it and really appreciate it, which is really neat. Now, Angela, could you tell a little bit about your host family? This is a really key aspect of SYA and maybe a favorite memory with them.
Yeah. So I got paired with a host family that was perfect for me. Like I don't think I could have been paired better. I got paired with a single mom. Her name is Asun, and her daughter, who is just my age. She's 17. Her name is Lena, and there are two cats. So it was an all-female, all-girl household. And SYA really like takes their time to get to know who you are like as an applicant, and obviously like what your routine is at home. And they paired me up really well because we had similar interests, we had similar hobbies. Obviously, my host sister was within my age range, so like every time something happened at my school, at her school, like she was the first person I told, and she was the first person that like told me all her new secrets and her new like exciting events that were going on. So it was really nice for me to have like a support system and all the love with my host family because they are who you spend the most time with, and they are where you learn the culture from and practice all the language. So it was very like a very important part of my study abroad experience, and I still talk to my host sister to this day. So yeah, I'm very grateful for them.
That
And
is so nice to hear.
yeah, for a favorite memory, we had a weekend trip to Madrid, and we went to see The Lion King live. So that was a very sweet thing that we got to do. And we had churros in the city, and it was just like so nice to see Madrid because it's a very big city, but I never felt lost because I was obviously with them. And by that point, I had been in Spain for about 6 months. So I really had hit like the sweet spot of my study abroad journey.
That's wonderful. And I'm just going to touch on this because Angela did kind of allude to it. And I do see a question in the chat that talks about host family matching. So from the SYA perspective, we give both separately the parent and the student a big, long survey to learn all about you. Like Angela said, your habits and likes, dislikes, allergies. And we have a host family coordinator who is a full-time staff member overseas who knows all the families personally and makes those matches. It's kind of an art and a science. So that's how that is approached. Now, Avalon, could you talk a little bit about fieldwork and maybe a particular one that stands out in what you did?
Yeah, so our fieldworks, at least in SY Italy, took place every Wednesday. And some of my favorite ones were probably the days when they would just put us on a train to Rome in the morning instead of going to school. And we would have the entire day. They would just tell us, what time we had to go back to school and kind of, take the train. And then we would spend the entire day in Rome with our friends. Sometimes there would be instructions like, go see this museum, or try to learn about this, but it was really an opportunity for us to choose what was important to us about the experience and apply it in a new city. And we probably went to Rome like 10 times. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but I don't think so. And we went like so much that Rome started to feel kind of like our backyard, and you get a really good feel for the city and a really good knowledge of like just the European train system. It's a way for you to bond with your friends. It made the experience feel very like immersive and independent for us. So those were probably some of the fieldworks that stood out the most to us. One more is that we walked the Via Francigena, which is like a historical trail in Italy. And so we walked with our entire class and a bunch of our teachers all day. We stopped and we ate panini on the side of the road. And then we kept walking. We ended at like a natural local hot spring. And then we took the bus back to town. So yeah, fieldworks are some of the best days, and they definitely really add to the experience and help you get what you want to get out of it.
That's really special. Definitely. It's a really unique experience and really brings it to life. Now, Andre, could you talk a little bit about capstone?
Yeah. So my capstone topic was it was focused on like racism and what organizations and different like the mayor's office did to address issues and like solve problems that are in the community, because Rennes is a really diverse city. And I interviewed the mayor and she said it was like comparable to like larger cities like Paris and Bordeaux. So there are problems that they see, but they also try and address them and bring the community together through different events and festivals and stuff like that. And I thought it was really interesting because I got to interview such an important person in like such a high position.
Yeah.
So
and I'm assuming all in French too.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was about like almost an hour-long interview with the
Wow.
mayor, and it was just really interesting to hear her perspective on everything.
That must have been a really, really neat. I mean, it's a neat opportunity, even if it was here to talk to your local mayor, let alone one in your new host city, and to kind of have that perspective. You have the outsider's perspective, and to kind of come at it from two different cultural backgrounds must have been really neat. That's a pretty cool capstone for sure. Now I'm going to ask for Angela to come back to talk about a typical day at school and kind of the SYA community of, friends, teachers, and everyone who makes up SYA.
Yeah, so our classes start at 8:45 in the morning, and we have 2 free periods built into the day. So I got lucky, and I got both my free periods back to back. So I would just always go with my other friends to a cafe that was like literally across the street from our school, and we would take our homework and our laptop, and we would get work done, and also just like catch up with one another. And then we have lunch at 2 o'clock at a local high school in Zaragoza called Compañía de María. And we would eat lunch there. And then if you had a little bit of free time, you could get like a pastry before coming back to class. And the end of the day, like classes end at 4:20. And a lot of students had extracurricular activities afterward. A lot of times with like other SYA students or other kids and like that are locals in the city. But teachers at SYA, a lot of them have worked there for many, many years, so they know really well what the transition is like from living in the US to living in whatever host country you're in. And I really got to witness like how much they care about you. Like they're not there to make your life difficult. Like I really felt like they're there to help you and like to ease the transition into like studying abroad and living in a new country. And I also got to witness like across the year that I was there, like how much my classmates' confidence grew in their language and also just as participants in the city of Zaragoza. So that was really, really nice.
That's really special. Yeah, it's a special place, and we have really special teachers who it takes a special person to be an SYA teacher, and many of them have been with us for quite a while as well, which is kind of testament to the community it builds. Thank you so much. And then I'm also going to bring Avalon back for, all right, think of our audience. We're talking to some families who have heard about SYA. They're thinking about it. That was you not too long ago. What made you do it?
It's a good question. For me, I think my main motivation, and everybody's is different, but personally, I really wanted to learn a new language. So that really drove me to search out. I know that immersion for me was going to work the best. So that really drove me to looking into different programs that I could try to do that with. And then I also just was looking for an adventure. I wanted to gain a new sense of independence and really kind of, get out of the bubble that we all live in and see somewhere else in the world. And I didn't think for me that high school was too early to do that. So I think when I found SYA, I was like, this program really combines everything that I've been looking for. And I think especially touching on the language, having such like a determined goal, because like I was really determined to become as fluent as possible by the time that 9 months was over. I think having that goal was really important because it kept me motivated throughout the year to keep pushing myself in uncomfortable situations and in situations where I didn't know where to use certain words, but it kept me pushing to keep doing that exposure and getting my language where I wanted it to be. And I'm really proud of how my language became by the end of the year. So yeah, that just a sense of adventure. Those were my main motivations.
That's wonderful. And how much language did you have before heading over?
None at all. I mean, living in California, I grew up around Spanish and I took like 4 or 5 years of Spanish, but not a single word of Italian. I maybe did some Duolingo before I left. But yeah, you definitely pick it up really fast. I'd say within like at the 4-month mark, things sort of started to fall into place. And then after 9, I felt really confident walking into pretty much any situation.
Which is really incredible. It's amazing how much, again, living in it day in and day out can really expedite.
Yeah, especially with your host families. Like I know they didn't speak a lot of English. My host mom did in the beginning, and then she kind of stopped speaking English to me. My host dad and my host brother pretended that they didn't speak any English, and I thought that they really did it. And then at the end of the year,
there was a big reveal.
I overheard them speaking English, like when my family came, and I was this
whole time.
It was really helpful in the end.
Oh, very, yes. Yeah, that's too funny. And I will say, I mean, you're talking about kind of growth and everything, and not only I feel like do our students grow linguistically, but also just as human beings who are ready for the next chapter.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenging experience, but it's so worth it. And yeah, you gain such a sense of like, I can do anything, you know, I can be in an uncomfortable situation or a new situation and I can push through it and grow from it. So yeah.
Yes, wonderful. All right. So I do see that we have some questions in the chat, which is wonderful. Keep them coming. I'm going to go and try and look and see what we can. Perfect. What are the pros and cons of fall versus spring semester? So all three of our students here are full year. So I'll talk a little bit, but then they saw both the fall and spring semester, and students come and go, and they lived the full year as well. So in a bit, if any of you want to address that, but from a purely the SYA perspective, our fall, spring, and full year students are completely integrated. So the fall students arrive with the full year students in the fall in August or September. And so that does have the advantage of you're starting all together, you're adjusting together. Of course, the only difference is that our fall students depart early. And then as far as the spring, they do come halfway through the experience, but they are fully integrated into our fall semester or our full year cohort. And our teams do a great job of making sure they're well integrated. We have spirit committees who go and meet them at the airport, and they have their own immersion unit and do become integrated quite quickly. And of course, they finish off the term with our full year students. So largely it is the same program, just ending earlier, starting late. And those have their pros and cons, whether it be starting together and you kind of miss out on the second semester, or integrating into a new cohort. Do any of you want to kind of address your semester friends or your perspective on why you maybe decided not to do a semester and really do the full 9 months?
I mean, I can just say really quickly that I agree that the spring semester students integrated really fast. And obviously the fall ones from the beginning, we were friends, but like everyone went on a bus to the airport in Rome, met them with signs, and then they fell into place really quickly. So I think that nobody like from the spring regretted doing spring over fall. I don't think, I think it worked really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything Avalon said, but it's just really like where you prefer to be. Like if you'd rather come in like the fall or the spring, it's the same program. It just really depends on you. But I did the full year because I really thought I would benefit the most from staying 9 months. And I'm really happy with my decision. But either way, year long or semester, the program is the same and you get out of the experience whatever you make of it. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I will say, kind of echo what the girls said, it's a very personal choice. So for a lot of students, it comes down to maybe a sport commitment, or something that's a non-negotiable back home. So it's a very personal choice what term you do. If you're even thinking about it, we have, for about half of our students, the semester is the perfect fit and they absolutely love it. We do have a group of students who regret not going for the full year, whereas we have few full year students who regret doing it. So it's really something to reflect on, and we have plenty of resources on YouTube and our website as well, where you can hear from students of all programs to kind of hear their perspective. But there's not a huge difference really at all. It's the same program. All right. Do we have another question from the chat? All right. What is it like to return home after a year abroad? Is it a hard transition to come home? You've all been home for a little while now. Does anyone want to address what that transition was like? You all had a summer to kind of ease in before the start of school.
I can take this one. So it was really, honestly, just like really weird coming back, because like I was at the school before I left, and then I came back to it, and I was like, wow, nothing has changed. But I felt like a lot different. It was really hard leaving my friends, but I also did visit some over the summer. So that definitely helped. And yeah, a lot of people do go visit each other after they leave, or I guess after they come back. So that definitely helps.
Yes.
Yeah, like I made like the best friends of my entire life during the year, and most of them are spring semester students again, so like they integrate really fast. But we had one reunion on the 4th of July, and then we have another one in like 10 days. So you stay really close with the people because you go through so much with them.
Yes. Yeah. No, I know a lot of students are, I mean, it is very valid concerns of what you're going to miss throughout the year and your friends that you're going to miss. And I definitely don't want to minimize any of that, but you also feel like you hear time and time again about the amazing friends that are out there yet to make and the cool experiences as well. But it's a tricky transition. Life goes on and you come back a whole new person. Yeah. All right. All right. Could you please address if a high school senior is able to take required graduation courses, or how do I find that out? So all of our students here went as juniors, but this is kind of the same for all of our students. We are a fully accredited high school. So you can our classes do translate. That is very much a school to school conversation, though. One of the first things I tell any interested student is to take a look at our course catalog, which is online, and sit down with an advisor, because sometimes it does come to pushing a class maybe a year early or a year later than you would have normally planned it. A lot of students will push chemistry, for example, or a hard science and take an environmental science while they're with us. So that's something to look at. We are a fully accredited high school, and we also are a diploma granting institution as well, if it comes to that. So that is a very individual conversation. You can reach out if you have more questions about that. But broadly, in terms of courses, take a look at our course catalog, and we are a fully accredited high school. Anything else? All right. How do you combat students feeling scared about the social aspect of studying abroad? Do you want to talk? Does anyone want to talk about like kind of the immersion unit and how you were able to kind of get situated and get to know each other as a cohort as you are preparing for this year, or what anything you did ahead of time? I know from the SYA perspective, we do, webinars and everything to make sure students feel prepared, but anything you did in those first couple weeks that helped you adjust?
I can answer this one.
Thank you.
So for SYA, we have a 2-week immersion unit, and that's basically where instead of regular classes, like you're talking to the resident director, you're getting to know your classmates, like you're figuring out like the city and you're navigating transportation, because those first 2 weeks are like where you're really figuring everything out. So you do get to explore the city with your entire class. Like you're never on your own, and your professors and your teachers are like getting to know you. And it's also really nice because you're never really alone, although sometimes it could feel like that. But once again, like you're with an entire other 60 or 50 students who are in the exact same position as you. Like you're all coming from a different country and you don't know the city. So just like the people next to you are in the same position as you. So it's really easy to make friends. And also it's very valuable to have the teachers who have been there for so long and understand what you're going through. So you're not alone.
Definitely. This isn't like transferring to a new school where everybody knows each other. Everybody's looking for new friends. And like has been said, many times, our faculty has been doing this for a long, long time. So they know what to expect, the times of homesickness and how the adjustment goes and how to help guide our students. We have advisories and everything like that to help our students navigate the highs and the lows of studying abroad. All right. Do we have another question you can go to? All right. Did any of you have to switch host families? And if so, what was that like? So as I mentioned earlier, we do our very best to conquer the art and science of matching with the very best host family, but we do not want any students stuck if it just doesn't work out. It might look great on paper, but not in reality. We do have one student here who did switch host families. Andre, would you be able to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I switched host families after like the first 2 weeks. It was just like a compatibility issue. And even like through switching host families, they asked me if I wanted to like stay with another friend during like the transition, because they hadn't like fully found another host family. But when they did, the director, she like talked to me. She asked me like if I was okay. Like she just like made sure that I was okay and addressed all of my concerns. And then even when I moved into my new host family's house, they helped me like get my suitcases across the city, so I didn't have to like take the bus to get it. And I really loved my second host family, so I'm really glad that I did switch. But it was very supportive. The community was very supportive throughout the transition. It was really nice. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, we have a host family coordinator on each campus. And so if it's a simple, miscommunication, mistranslation, they're there to help it out. And if it is, just not working out, we never want a student to feel stuck. We want all of our students to give it the good old try when they first get there, because you never know exactly what you have this idea of exactly what family you're going to get. And you don't know if that's exactly what's going to happen. So yes, all of our students to try it out, but we don't want anyone to ever feel stuck either. So we will be there to support you. Is there any other questions? What are the opportunities for students to do things outside of school? So we spoke a little bit about extracurriculars. So we do have some activities that happen, like cooking, that are SYA activities, but the most things in Europe actually happen outside of their high schools and in the communities. And that works to our advantage because we can connect our students with those local programs. I know Andrea already shared his experience swimming in an orchestra. Does anyone else want to kind of talk about what that looked like for them, or maybe a friend?
Yeah, I can answer. We have like an activities coordinator on each campus, I think you said, but on ours, his name is Dave. He's great. And we had so many opportunities. Personally, I took a cooking class. I would go to the gym after school. You can get a gym membership. It's like you can walk to the gym, you can walk everywhere. And I also volunteered to tutor English at the local high school and the local middle school, which was a great opportunity to meet local students inside of the high school, and then also just kind of get to know the area, get to know the teachers, get to witness how another school system works. So those were some of the extracurriculars that I did, but there were so many that were offered. I also played on, like, we had a soccer team that was just like our class and some local kids that would come, and pretty much anything that you want that you can find in the town, they're able to make happen for you. So I think there's a lot to offer.
Yeah, we definitely try and help our students customize their experience, whether they want to pursue sports or arts or culinary arts. Like I said, a lot of these happen in the community. We've also, I know a couple years, it might have been your class, Andre, there was a bunch of students in France who wanted to sing. So they started an a cappella group. So there is some freedom to do things like that as well, and really make your experience what you want to do. All right. Were you able to access sports easily? Did you do sports with other SYA people and locals? So I think we just kind of addressed this. So yeah, most sports happen in the community, although some, like in Italy, they had their own kind of pickup soccer league, which was mostly SYA students with a few locals, but this is a great opportunity to meet local students. There might be other SYA students on your team, and there might not be. It really depends on interest. That's the beauty of SYA. You don't have to be a cookie cutter. You can all have your own different interests and make the most of it. So yeah, it's a mix of both. And we have an SYA extracurricular coordinator on each campus to help you take advantage of those. In Spain, what are the weekends like? How often do you travel on weekends with friends? All right.
Yeah, so your weekends in Spain really depends, I think, on like you. I think in the beginning, I was more of like a homebody. I really like to stay with my host family, and we would just like watch movies together. And like it was a tradition every Sunday we would go to my host aunt's house, and she lived like 20 minutes from us on the tranvía, on the train. On the bus. And so we would just have lunch together, and it was like a whole day activity because Spanish lunches and dinners usually take like 2 hours. So we would always be talking. The lights just went out. Anyway, we would just be talking together, and I really got to know like not only my host mom and my host sister, but like my host cousins and the family that lived right there as well. And I really felt like I was just a part of their family too. Not that I was just like a student living in their house, but that I was like a dear family member, and they became people that I really hold close to my heart. But for travel, it was open. I think it opened up in November, and it was about once a month. So we would have an A option and a B option. And option A would be like, let's say the 1st of the month to the 3rd, or option B would be like the 12th to the 14th. So for independent travel, we would leave mostly like Friday after school and come back Sunday before curfew. those were like the time frames that we had. And yeah, you could choose A or B.
Yeah, wonderful. So yeah, it's kind of like at home, you fall into your own rhythm. All right, I think we're doing one more question, or is that it? All right. So thank you so much for spending time with us this evening. I really appreciate it. If you do have questions we weren't able to get to, or if you have more that come up, I realize that more arise the deeper you get into this. Do not hesitate to reach out to SYA admissions. You can check out our website, schedule a call. We are more than happy to chat with you. But thank you again for spending time with us this evening. And a huge thank you to our 3 alumni who are busy high school seniors and carved out time in this very busy season to be a senior, to spend time with us. But thank you so much. And I hope you all have a lovely evening and a happy holiday season. Bye-bye.